Guys, right now is the absolute perfect time to visit Siem Reap. I could not be happier that we're here right now. Obviously, number one thing to do here is see Angkor Wat, and seeing it without tourists is friggin' amazing. We'll get to that in a minute, but right now I am just about to hop in a tuk-tuk because we are off to do a Khmer cooking class, which I'm super excited for. So we'll do that, and then we'll get to all the other things to do in Siem Reap.
Lemongrass, garlic, turmeric, galangal, kaffir lime.
Nice.
Oh yeah, the pork. Okay, that's
Can
it.
put 1 tablespoon for the soya.
Okay, excuse my hair, the humidity is at about 100%, so we're really dealing with a lot here. But basically, Siem Reap, yeah, what a cool city. I actually really like it here. I found Phnom Penh to be really busy and loud and dirty, but here is definitely a bit more chilled out, a lot quieter, hardly any tourists, honestly. Let's talk about Angkor Wat for a second, because the whole reason we're in Cambodia in the first place is because I want to go to Angkor Wat, and I want to go now when there's no tourists or very minimal tourists. And let me tell you, there's really minimal tourists. It was bonkers. So we got up and we went to Angkor Wat for sunrise. So we left at about 5 a.m, got there like 5:30, 6 o'clock. So our tour guide was telling us that there's usually like thousands of people there, and there were maybe 20 at a stretch. Like, it was empty, and it was amazing to see because you could get photos without anyone in it. You could just sit there as the sun comes up without being like bumped, and there's not too much noise, and it was truly amazing. And then just walking around the temples itself with nobody there, like, that's so special. You don't ever really get that opportunity, right? Like, until now. Our tour guide was saying that it hasn't been this quiet since 1980. And if you'll recall, 1980 is the year after the Cambodian like genocide basically ended. So of course there was not much tourism going on then. So it is an amazing place to be and an amazing time to be here. So we went to like the main temple, obviously, and then we went to another one. I cannot remember the name, but it's where they filmed Tomb Raider, which is a pretty big tourist attraction. Went there, nobody was there. Also, I've never seen Tomb Raider, so I wasn't like expecting anything, but this temple was so cool. It was definitely my favorite of the whole Angkor Wat complex. We were the only people there, and the thing that made it so good is that it hasn't really been fully restored yet. So it's all crumbling and like falling over and covered in moss, and just looks like it's gonna cave in at any moment. And I absolutely love that, because then it's like authentic. You gotta come, and you gotta come now. It's, man, it's so cool. So anyway, there's a lot actually to do in Siem Reap other than the temples, and the number one thing that I'm most excited to do is to go get a massage. So there's a place across the road from where I'm staying where I'm gonna go get a traditional Cambodian massage where they have like the herbal compress and a facial. It's gonna be 2 hours in total, and it's gonna be $20 US, which is pretty good. And you just get to hang out in aircon for 2 hours, which is really what I'm most excited about, because oh shit, it's hot here. I'm gonna go off and have a massage, and then this afternoon we're just gonna go hang out at some of the bars on Pug Street. I love this place. One of the best things about Cambodia, if you're coming here as a tourist, is the cheap alcohol. Like, when I say cheap, I don't even mean like, oh yeah, pretty well priced. I mean like draft beer for $1, and if you're lucky you'll find a happy hour where it's 50 cents. I'm talking frozen margaritas for $2.50. I'm talking cocktails for $2. I'm talking whole bottles of vodka for like $12. It's really cheap, which is really good from a cost saving perspective, but not so great from a responsible drinking perspective, I guess. So there are a few bars that we've been to a couple times that I'd recommend. Number one is Jungle Burger, which is run by a Kiwi guy. They've got a pool table, they've got really good chili frozen margaritas, they've got amazing food. Then there's a place called Beatnik, which has an awesome frozen mango daiquiri and good beer. It's also a really good spot for people watching because the tables are outside. And then obviously Star Bar, which is the place that we're actually staying, which is a really cool bar, $1 beers. They've got like pub quiz tonight on a Sunday. They've got different like happy hours during the week, and it's, oh yeah, they've got pressure hour on Friday. You've got 1 hour, you pay $1, you can drink as much as you want, but the second anybody gets up off the bar to like go to the bathroom or whatever, everybody loses. So it's really fun. Yeah, that's a really cool, friendly place to go hang out, and an awesome place to stay actually. If you're looking for a place to stay in Siem Reap, 100% recommend Star Bar. Also, if you're from Sydney, you know Star Bar is an amazing place with sticky floors and $3 champagne from when we were 18. Anyway, what was it? Are there any other bars that we'd recommend?
The Italian, tip the Italian going on.
Oh yeah. This Italian place called Il Forno. It's actually a restaurant, but we just went in for a drink. It's just off Pub Street, so it's a bit quieter. They're super friendly and they have good wine. Traveling around Southeast Asia, it's hard to find good wine. Everything is goon, but this place has good wine, so I really recommend Il Forno as well. Good morning. It's not even 9 a.m. and it is so hot. I'm sweating, but we are about to get in a tuk-tuk and head to a really cool kind of like museum slash community organization, which is all about removing landmines. Basically, I don't know how much you know about Cambodian history because I didn't know anything before I came, but in the 1970s there was a huge war and heaps of landmines were put basically everywhere over the whole country. So then someone somehow trained rats to go sniff out landmines so they could be safely removed, which I don't understand how that works, but it sounds awesome. So yeah, getting in the tuk-tuk now. I think it's like 10 minutes out of the city. Okay, that tour was so cool. If you do anything in Siem Reap, I mean obviously go to the temples, but hang on, it's a bit loud here. But if you do anything else here, you've got to come to this rat place. Cambodia is the worst affected place in the world by landmines. They've got the most casualties every single year. One rat can clear the space of a tennis court in 30 minutes, but that takes a metal detector 4 days. Like, these rats are amazing. They tell us how they train them and they show a little demonstration of the rats finding the landmines. It's just so cool to see. So these rats get trained in Tanzania, and then once they're trained they get a little certificate and a little passport, and then they get flown over here to Cambodia or wherever else, because they do the program in a bunch of different countries. And then they live in this awesome place with aircon and fans, and then every morning they go out and they get sunscreen put on their ears and on their tail, and they go do their work for a couple hours, and then they come home and they eat and they chill out in the playground, and then after 5 years they get retirement, and then they just get to like hang out in aircon for the rest of their lives. So I just love it. These rats are so cool. I mean, honestly, did I enjoy this more than Angkor Wat? Probably. Highly recommend. I'm so glad we came and did this. Before you come, just send them an email to book time in for the tour. We didn't do that, but because it's pretty quiet at the moment, it was okay. But yeah, just book in a time for the tour and do it. And it's $8 per person. So much fun. So cool. Really glad we did this again. All right, it's lunchtime. We have come to what has become probably our favorite restaurant here. Yes, it is literally 10 meters from where we're staying, but it's also got really good authentic Khmer food. I think it's authentic. I mean, I see people in here who are locals and people in here who are tourists, so I'm just gonna go and say that it's authentic. I've tried the soup here, I've tried the curry here, and tried the noodles, What did you have last night? Oh, the beef lok lak, which is a typical Cambodian Khmer dish. It's really good. Really recommend this place. It's called Khmer Grill, right opposite Starbar, which has great $1 tappies, and right opposite the Khmer Wellness Spa, which has great massages. So you can really make a day of it. I've ordered a sweet and sour Cambodian soup with chicken, and I'm really keen. It is too hot to be eating soup. It's like 35 degrees and 100% humidity, but that's fine. Another reason why is that Siem Reap has spent the last 2 years like fully renovating the whole city. So 2 years ago, the roads were shit. Like there's no other way around it. The roads were absolutely shit. So they spent the last 2 years basically excavating all the roads and repaving them. And all the locals are like, it's been the worst. Like having these roadworks every day, you can't drive anywhere. Like the power was cut, the internet was cut. Like, oh my gosh, this guy I met yesterday was telling us that during lockdown, they cut his internet. So he had no internet for 5 days and also wasn't allowed to leave the house. Like, but the upside is right now, it's a really beautiful city. The roads are so smooth and so easy to get around. The infrastructure is a lot better. Okay, yes, there are frequent blackouts, and yes, the internet is terrible, but it's better than it was before, I guess. Still, some of the side streets are very much under construction. Like there's this one street near our hotel where they're clearly in the middle of putting up street lamps, but they just haven't gotten around to it yet. So they've just stored the street lamps on the sidewalk. So you're just walking down the sidewalk over the top of street lamps just lying there. Whatever, it's a work in progress. That's fine. Okie dokie.
Oh, the chokey!
And just bought a new hat. And he thinks he's really cool when he's walking around wearing it, even though we're like hundreds of miles from the beach. He looks like he's in Cuba. Anyway, this brings us to the end of our time in Siem Reap. Tonight we are catching a night bus all the way down to Sihanoukville, which is right down on the coast, so we can get a ferry to the islands. It's a 10-hour bus ride, which is not ideal, but that's literally the only way to get there right now. But honestly, I've really enjoyed Siem Reap. I think we've done some awesome stuff. We stayed in a really good place. We made the most of the time here. We spent, I guess, nearly 5 days here, and we only spent like 5 hours at Angkor Wat. So it's good to see that there's heaps to do here that isn't just going to temples. So highly recommend Siem Reap, especially now. Highly recommend staying at the Starbar rooms. That's an awesome place. Highly recommend going to the Khmer Wellness Spa. Highly recommend going to the Khmer Grill.
Wellness spa.
I just said that. Thank you for watching all the way to the end, and I'll see you in the next video when we're down the islands.
It's easy for working. They work very quick, but you have to know the management.
Tired.
Yeah, because they still at the daytime, so that's why. Yeah, and too hot also, so that's why they